Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Texas Lottery Commission to order. Today is December the 5th. It is 10 a.m. We have a quorum, and we have other commissioners that will be joining us here shortly. We will start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. I pledge of allegiance to the flag. Yeah. All right. See, we're already picking up steam. We are going to go into executive session to start the meeting. So I move that the Texas Lottery Commission go into executive session to deliberate personnel matters and to receive legal advice. Is there a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, the Texas Lottery Commission will go into executive session at 10:01 a.m. December 5th, 2024. Hopefully we'll be back not too long. So I appreciate everyone's patience, and we'll see everyone soon. Okay, the Texas Lottery Commission is out of executive session at 10:40 a.m. We will start with Ryan. We're going to take things a little out of order, and so we're going to go to the Executive Director's report. Ryan.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Ryan Mendel, Executive Director. I have two brief updates for you this morning. First is an update on the LaFleur's Lottery Conference that was held right here at the AT&T Center, November 19th and 20th. The Texas Lottery is co-host. Conference was very successful. We had the second largest attendance at the LaFleur's conference ever, and the largest attendance we ever had at the Texas Lottery Conference. We had to have an overflow room, and it was well attended. There was a number of great presentations and panels, including from our very own Steve Helm, Del Bowersock, and Delana Bradshaw, who each excelled. I moderated a panel discussion with the Dallas Cowboys, Texas Rangers, San Antonio Spurs, and Austin FC, which helped show lotteries around the country what sports teams are looking for in their lottery partners. And it was part of a discussion on bulk purchasing activities with two other lottery directors, showing that this activity is continuing to proliferate around the country. We're continuing to monitor it very closely here in Texas. Overall, I received an enormous amount of positive feedback about how the conference went, and I wanted to share that with you. The other item I had is that recently the Texas Lottery was recognized by the Austin American-Statesman as a Greater Austin Top Workplace. The second time we've been awarded this recognition. In my opinion, this shows the positive and collaborative culture at this agency, focusing on doing things the right way, ultimately supporting our good causes. Having won the Regional Best Workplace Award, we had been submitted for the National Award. We'll find out the results on that in March. That's all I had to update you on this morning. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Commissioners, any discussion regarding Ryan's report? Okay. We also wanted to discuss what we discussed in executive session, so that'll hand it over to Cindy.
In executive session, we went through the performance evaluation for Ryan Mendel. He's been on the job. How long have you been on the job?
Since April.
Since April, and I think we're in, along with Jan's excellent help, we completed the performance evaluation. You were exemplary in every area, and I think it just reiterates that we made the right choice, even though we had a lot of great candidates when the job was posted. I think we made the right decision. Thank you for doing it. So with that, go ahead.
Commissioners have any comments they'd like to make regarding Ryan's performance?
Just add that we appreciate your hard work and integrity, and just keep on it. Got a lot more work to do.
Yeah, I would just add just how much I have appreciated the regular communication and the as we work through Sunset, which was it's almost like a whole extra job that you took on, and the way that you approached that with our instructions saying, let's see how we can make this agency better, and you approached it that way, and I think we've had some great results out of Sunset and all of the progress we've made already on those Sunset recommendations, even before it's finalized. So appreciate your work on that and how you've worked with us too. So, Clark.
Echo everything that my colleagues have said. Keep it up. I'm in obviously a little bit of a different position from them, having just joined shortly before your being elevated to your position. I just appreciate as the new commissioner everything you've done to bring me on board and to catch me up to speed and to keep me up to speed on everything. So keep it up.
Before we take a vote, just Ryan, I want to express just how grateful I am of your leadership, your hands-on approach, your level of just open transparency towards the stewardship of the agency. You know, since you have joined as an employee, you've been dedicated, you've been forthright, and just truly earnest in your day-to-day approach to management and to helping lead the agency in a variety of different positions before you were selected for the role that you have now. So I know that all employees are grateful for you at the helm and also for the trajectory and path that you've chosen over the years in terms of the ability to serve in different roles and functions. And that's something that the agency is definitely appreciative and grateful for having that kind of just hands-on leadership over the years and earned that level of trust, not only with your employees, but commissioners and all that interact with the agency. So we're grateful that you're helping to guide and steer and lead, Ryan. So thank you. Cindy?
So with that, I move that the commission approve the performance evaluation for Ryan Mindell.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is approved. Ryan?
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I really appreciate those words, and I appreciate the trust that each of you show in me, as well as the trust that all the staff show and all the stakeholders that we have. So I just want to make sure I stated that. Thank you all.
Okay, Ryan, good job. Next item, number 2, back to our regularly scheduled agenda, is the Bingo Advisory Committee report. Trey Smith, your item.
Morning, Commissioners, Bingo Commissioner Fields, and Chairman. Yesterday, the Bingo Advisory Committee met and had several important items on their agenda. The first of those was the rule review. Stephen Elio presented items for discussion and consideration by staff, and we listened very intently. I also attended the public comment hearing at 1 o'clock, of which there were no new comments. During the legislative update, we learned of 2 bills pertaining to bingo, House Bill 487 and Senate Bill 517, which are identical bills by Tepper and Middleton in reference to 8-liners and redemption and gambling. The next item was the Bingo Service Portal Input Subcommittee. This is in regards to the Management Action 2.5 from Sunset. Consult the Bingo Advisory Committee to seek input related to licensees' experience and suggestions for the Bingo Service Portal. With staff's help, the subcommittee chairman, Mr. Penny, has been directed to have this input and the recommendations by January 10th for consideration by the Bingo Advisory Committee at their February 5th meeting. The BAC will then present this to the commissioners' meeting on February 6th. The industry is also helping assist the staff with the Bingo Service Portal draft survey by giving input and suggestions. Our next meeting is February 5th. This concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion?
I attended the BAC meeting, and the BAC members are engaged and are working hard and working on everything that we've asked for. So thank you for your leadership, and we appreciate the BAC members for representing the.
We have a wonderful group. We're very pleased with all the
group.
selections y'all have made. So thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next item is lottery security study. Angela, your item.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Angela Skyby-Sagarba, the Director of Administration. Item 3 in your notebook is a presentation of the 2024 Biennial Security Study of the Texas Lottery Commission. Government Code 466.020 requires the Executive Director at least once every 2 years to employ an independent firm to conduct a comprehensive study of all aspects of lottery security. It stipulates 12 specific areas that must be reviewed and one classified as other. The Act requires copies of the study to be provided to the Commission, the Governor, and the Legislature. A copy of the public report will be placed on the agency's website, and the appropriate office is notified of its availability. The 2024 study was conducted by Barry Dunn, and with me today is Austin Elmore, the project manager, who will present his report.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you, Angela. I'm Austin Elmore. I'm a senior IT auditor on Barry Dunn's technology assurance team, and as Angela said, project manager for this year's security study. I would like to first briefly introduce the firm and discuss the process for which we conducted the security study. And then my colleague Minty Patel will present some of the results from the study. Barry Dunn is a national accounting and consulting firm headquartered in Portland, Maine. Our team specializes in lottery services and have been working in the lottery industry since 1985. On a given year, we're providing approximately 50 audits to state lottery agencies and their vendors focused on security and internal controls. We work with lotteries all over the United States, Caribbean, Canada, and Europe. We have a dedicated team of 11 people who work full-time on the lottery. This is our 5th time working with the Texas Lottery on the security study. This security study consists of 3 phases. Phase 1, a planning phase, phase 2, a risk phase, and phase 3 is an assessment phase. The majority of work was completed remotely, with a portion of our phase 3 control assessment completed on-site at the Texas Lottery's headquarters. As I mentioned, this is our 5th year doing the security study for the Texas Lottery, and we want to comment on the continued success of the investment they have made into information security and the noted strengthening of controls over the past years. This was the first security study where the lottery was fully integrated into the new George H.W. Bush facility. We were able to learn, observe, and test the controls and processes at the new facilities, such as the new Jaw Studio and Claim Center, in full operation. Many of the upgrades have allowed the lottery to strengthen and mature an already strong internal control environment. We spent phase 1, the planning phase, understanding the new changes that were made and how these changes impacted risk and internal controls. In phase 2, we interviewed approximately 25 managers and high-level personnel throughout nearly every department of the lottery and identified 181 risks, which were based on best practices and current procedures. From those 181 risks, and through our meetings, we identified approximately 200 internal controls that were in place throughout the agency to mitigate those risks. We provided the Texas Lottery with a detailed report that broke down all of the risk and what those results were. This also included an assessment of key vendors, including IGT. In the 3rd phase, we came in and tested those 200 controls for operating effectiveness throughout the 2-year period since the last security study was performed in 2022. We tested this through inspection of documents, sampling, interviews, and observation of system configurations and lottery operations. While we were doing this, We're also looking for opportunities for improvement based on our industry experience and best practice as suggested by several government frameworks and compliance standards. We'll now hand it to Minty to discuss the results of the study.
Thank you, Austin. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Minty Patel. I'm a Senior IT and Security Auditor on Veridan's Technology Assurance team and acted as a technical lead for this year's security study. This year's security study reflected an agency settling into a post-COVID work environment and a lot of changes from the relocation of the headquarters, including a transition to a hybrid workforce and moving critical backend and database systems to the cloud to help streamline data management, enhance security, and bring best-in-class systems to the lottery. As a result of our phase 3 testing, we noted 4 findings. The findings have no impact on the integrity of the lottery games or pose a risk or fraud or a security incident. The findings noted were as a result of migrating to the cloud database platform and were low-risk administrative processes that were not completed due to staffing constraints. We also provided lottery with 8 best practice recommendations. 6 were moderate risk and 2 were low risk. We noted no high-risk items. None of our noted risk or findings would impact the security or integrity of any of the games, systems, or products within the Texas Lottery. Our recommendations and best practices focused on process improvements to enhance efficiency within the new systems that were put in place, while other recommendations focused on simply documentation enhancements. We really want to thank Angela Sgarba, Eric Williams, and John Kotel for helping us through the security study. A special thank you also goes to Jason Kennedy, who coordinated on-site work and came in to work with us. We would also like to acknowledge Dawn Espinoza and her team at IGT for the help on the vendor side. Everyone at the lottery is committed to this biennial security study and were helpful, friendly, and very responsive to our request. Thank you to all of them for their hard work, and thank you to the lottery for working with our firm this year. And this is all we have to present to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Angela, can you kind of bring us from last time that you presented to today in terms of the items in the transition of moving to the new building that were of a concern that you mentioned previously and kind of where we are today then?
Yeah, the last time this study was conducted, we were in the middle of the move. And so now that we are in the building and things have settled in, their team was here basically from the spring through the summer. And so I think that, although they identified a few items, as they mentioned, and that are in the report in front of you, we have, we take everything seriously that they mention, and we look at them and we try to make improvements where we can. And then sometimes things are identified that, the state may do things a little different way, and we work with them too. So, we work closely with DR, for example, on IT. And of course, Jason could speak more to that than me. But I would say that we have now settled in fully into this building and the changes that are being made. So,
do you see anything glaring that we need to ask for help on? Anything that needs to be improved immediately? Anything that you feel is a red flag that needs to be addressed today?
I don't see anything that's a red flag that needs to be addressed today that is high priority. No.
Okay.
There are certainly things we're still working. TFC controls the badges, and as I said, DR controls some of the security stuff. So there's certainly still some things we're working on, but no, there's nothing that I see today that's high priority.
Okay. Commissioners, any other discussion? Okay. We appreciate your work and diligence, and this is obviously incredibly important to us. And so I appreciate y'all traveling in from Portland to be here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thankfully, they were not in the lake of snow effect.
that is right. Okay, Angela, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Next item, demographic report on lottery players. Robert, your item.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Robert Trelawney, Director of Lottery Operations. Commissioner, Section 466.021 of the State Lottery Act requires the Executive Director to employ an independent firm to conduct a demographic study of Texas lottery players every 2 years. The results of the study must be presented to you all, the Commission, to the Governor, and to the Legislature before the convening of each regular legislative session. Item 4 today is the 2024 demographic study. I'm very happy to have Dr. Pablo Pinto, Distinguished Professor from the Hobby School of Public Affairs at the University of Houston, with us today. Dr. Pinto is also the Director of the Center for Public Policy at U of H. Dr. Pinto will present to you the high-level results of this most recent demographic study. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Dr. Pinto.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. My pleasure being here to present the results from our study. We prepare a short slide presentation with the results. So I think the easiest way to go through this. It's a very thick report, and it goes, into the overall, level of play, but also individual, games, and what's the incidence by different demographic groups. So next slide we can go through. So the first step is to talk about the survey details. Next slide we can go through. So we have a representative sample of close to 1,700 respondents, representative of the adult population in Texas, 18 plus. We conducted a web-based sampling of respondents. It's a representative sample. It matches closely the population of Texas on demographics, the relevant demographics that we care about. And given the number of respondents, the margin of error is 2.4 plus minus percentage points at a 95% confidence level. So we're going to start presenting the results for our general findings. Next slide. And one more. And so the overview is looking at the participation rates. What we see these in comparison to 2022, we see a decrease to the participation rate is 54.8, close to 55% of Texans reported having played any of the games that the lottery has, and that's a drop of from 61.6% in 2022. The difference is 6.8 percentage points, which is statistically different. So it was a drop. We'll show later. The overall trend. We do find differences between players and non-players. The differences are small but significant in statistical terms in terms of income, employment status, home ownership, age, marital status, children in the household, race and ethnicity, and particularly Hispanic origin. The median dollars spent, the trend, remains fairly constant. We're back to levels close to those in 2020. Roughly the median dollars spent in lottery, by any of the respondents is $35 in 2024. Next slide. So our next analysis is the main sales districts. When we consider participation rate, the largest is McAllen, followed by San Antonio and Lubbock. Those are the highest. And in terms of expenditure, both in average expenditure per month and also in median expenditure per month, we see that Houston West, sales district is the highest, close to $80 per month in terms of average expenditure, and $47.5 per month in terms of median expenditure, per month. Now we can move into the individual results, for different games. So the top game, remains Lotto Texas, the top 5. Includes Lotto Texas at the top. Among those who play, 78.5% are playing Lotto. The next one is Texas Lottery Scratch Games with a participation rate of 67%. Pick 3, 65.8%, Mega Millions, 61.4%, and Powerball, 51.9%. The highest expenditures in All or Nothing, with a roughly expenditure of $32.63 per play. The highest number of times played daily. Daily 4 is 3.89 times per week, and Fireball feature with daily 4 is 3.3 times per week. Those are the greatest. Now, in terms of game results, next slide, please. The average number of times played, weekly or monthly, tended to be stable or up for Powerball, stable or down for a large number of the games, from Lotto Texas all the way through All or Nothing. And then we had mixed results for Mega Millions, extra feature with Lotto Texas, daily 4, Fireball feature with daily 4. The average amount of dollars spent per play is roughly similar to that in 2022. Next slide, please. So in terms of the evolution of play, we saw a big drop in the early 2000s. It's like, and we're back to rates of play similar to those in the 1990s, right? The trend has been from 2014 onwards. It's like we would be now on the trend that we observed from 2014 with a spike in 2022. It's like, and we see a drop, but we continue seeing that increase. The next slide, it's like gives you just a summary of the for each of the games in terms of participation rate for 2024, the rate of change in comparison to 2022, the frequency of purchase, it's like, and the average number of times played, it's like per week and month, and the average spend. The highlighted cells, it's like show those who are the highest for each column or the lowest for each column, right? So Texas Lotto was 78% participation rate, it's like, but it had a drop, it's like of minus 3.3 in comparison to 2022 as an example. So that's pretty much what I had to report. It's like there's more information in the full report for each game. It's like in the next slide, it shows the participants in this, which is our team at the Harvey School of Public Affairs, University of Houston. Gail Batorf, who's the Associate Director of the Center for Public Policy, Jim Granado, who's the Dean of the Harvey School, myself, and Savannah Sepol, who's a Research Associate in the school. And it's been a pleasure working with Robert and the team on this, as always. Thank you.
Okay, Pablo, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? So,
I had just a question. The West Houston statistics that you showed were pretty eye-opening. The difference between the median sales versus the average sales.
Yeah.
Were there just some absolute, I'd say, whales who were purchasing massive amounts in West Houston?
If I have to, it's like look at the overall picture. It's like it's not exclusive of that district. It's throughout. You tend to see that average is much higher than median. It's like so. There's like a third of the players that play a lot and spend a lot, and the rest, it's like play but just a little. They might just show up when a big, it's like a prize is at play and so on. But you see people consistently playing the pay. It's like much more. That brings the average up. It's like so. It's the typical. When you have this distribution with a longer tail. So, and as you mentioned, it's not necessarily whales. It's people that spend. It's like above. It's like the average.
Pablo, on here on page 12 and 13 is the overall summary. Am I reading this correctly? Just I'll take a couple of points that the majority of the players are married. Is that what you're stating?
Yes, there's the married and with children in the household, and it shows. If you look at other demographics, it shows again. If you look at age, right? That's the age group that has children. It's like and those are the ones who tend to play more. Yeah.
So, okay. Children under 18 living in the household, 65%.
Yeah.
Okay. And then turn the page on the education. So again, just round numbers. Is this correct that 65% of the players have some level of college or a degree? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
and 40% of the players have at least a college degree and/or graduate degree on top.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, any other questions, thoughts?
Very interesting. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you.
we appreciate, go ahead.
One other question. I don't know if y'all picked this up. Is there any particular day of the week that is played the most?
We haven't looked at that. I mean, it's like, but if you're interested, we can get you that information.
I was just curious.
Okay, Robert and Pablo, thank you very much
My
for
pleasure.
your report. We know that this took a lot of effort on your part. So the entire study was done in November of this year. Is that correct?
That's correct. So that we collected in October the data, and it's like, and we released the report in November.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, next item, Commission Policy on Division of Responsibilities, which are several. Bob, your item.
Bob Beard, General Counsel, and I'm requesting your approval regarding one of the Sunset Advisory Commission's management directives to update the Commission's policy on the separation of duties between the Commission and staff. That policy is P-002 and titled Division of Responsibilities. As stated by the Sunset Board, PLC would need to update its existing policy to specify the Commission's role in key planning efforts involving Commission members earlier in these planning processes specifically, instead of just approving things once finalized, would allow them more opportunities to provide input and fulfill their responsibility for establishing agency policies and providing direction. The proposed revisions describe the board's policy and planning responsibilities and the subcommittee structure and scope of each subcommittee's responsibilities, emphasizing a subcommittee's advisory role and the need to bring recommendations to the full board for discussion and approval. The revisions emphasize that all significant policies affecting the Commission or the lottery or charitable bingo industries are driven by the Commission board, and that the direct report shall implement the Commission's policies within parameters set by the board. So if the executive director or bingo director become aware of any matter that requires a significant policy decision affecting the Commission or the lottery or bingo industries, whether the matter involves a rule or potential rule, agency operations, or the structure of the lottery or charitable bingo business, the director must bring the matter to the commissioners at the next regularly scheduled commission meeting, unless the meeting is scheduled for that purpose, and seek direction from the commission. Since our last meeting, we ran our draft changes by staff at the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation and got their feedback. And this board's legal subcommittee has also reviewed this, the revisions to this policy, and their suggestions have all been incorporated. And I recommend approval of the revised policy. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion, particularly any from our legal subcommittee? Clark.
Great work. This is an enormously important policy to have in place. I know as a former regulator at a different regulatory agency, how it's easy to overlook and not update a document like this. So this was a very iterative process. Appreciate the hard work that you guys have put into it, and I think it's a very good document.
Okay. Clark, thank you for serving on the legal subcommittee. Good job. Commissioners, any other discussion? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve Commission Policy P2, Division of Responsibilities.
Second.
Awesome. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Good job, everyone. Bob, thank you. Clark, thank you. Okay. Next item is a report on lottery operations procurement. Angela, your item.
Good morning again. For the record, my name is Angela Skyby-Sagarba, the Director of Administration. Item 6 in your notebooks is a briefing item. This is an interim status update to let you know that the Lottery Operations and Services RFP is continuing to progress as planned, and we are continuing the review of proposals. As stated in Section 2.22 of the RFP, site visits will occur during the timeframe listed in the schedule of events and will be limited to locations in the contiguous United States. If there's any additional changes to the timeline, an amendment will be posted on the electronic State Business Daily and the Texas Lottery's websites. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to entertain those.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Okay, Angela, good job. Thank you very much, as always. All righty, next, report lottery sales and revenue. Sergio and Will, your item.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Sergio Rey, Chief Financial Officer, Will Russ, Products Manager, and I will be providing a recap of our sales and revenues through the week ending November 23rd, 2024. It is now week 12 of fiscal year 2025. Our total sales are $1.85 billion. This is slightly less than this time last year in fiscal year 2024. Our draw sales are just under $350 million and roughly $106 million less than last year. This is largely due to the big Powerball jackpot at the start of last year. Our scratch tickets sales, though, are faring much better with a 0.5% increase over last year. Our total sales through week 12 is $1.497 million, which is about $7.2 million more than last year. For the specifics from our draw and scratch games, I will hand it over to Will Russ for those details.
Thank you, Sergio. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Will Russ, the Products Manager, and will be giving a more detailed view of the sales that Sergio just reported on. If we look at this slide at the bottom right corner, you can see the year-over-year decline of about $99 million or 5.09%. As Sergio mentioned, the main contributor to this decline is the national draw game Powerball. Last year, during this corresponding period at the beginning of fiscal 24, Powerball had an extraordinary run when the jackpot hit $1.72 billion on October 11th, 2023. Immediately following that, it went on another solid run when it hit $810 million on January 1st, 2024. We unfortunately have not had a jackpot run over $500 million this fiscal and are therefore seeing this decline. The other national draw game, Mega Millions, has fared better thus far this fiscal, with sales up about $11 million, which includes the add-on features. We started the year with an $800 million jackpot that was hit on September 10th, which is only a few days into the year, but did provide a great starting point. Furthermore, the jackpot has not been hit since, and is now at a very solid $579 million. I'll keep you informed on this roll and its sales at our next meeting. Sales for our in-state draw game Lotto Texas are also slightly up. This game has been on a roll since late June, and undoubtedly this is contributing to the positive sales year over year. Our in-state jackpot game, Texas Two-Step, is slightly down by almost $2 million. This game, however, is also having a decent run right now with a jackpot of $925,000, which should help decrease this deficit. In the middle of the slide in blue are the daily games, and there's neutral news to report here. Pick 3 is slightly down, but this month we resumed our monthly co-op promotions that support this game. These promotions were briefly on hold for October and November while we went through our system conversion, but returned on Sunday, December 1st, to the delight of our retailers and players. Daily 4, Cash 5, and All or Nothing are all relatively flat. In conclusion, for the draw games portion of the portfolio, sales are currently down about $106 million or 23.31%. You can see that number outlined in blue towards the bottom of the slide. We knew that last year's jackpot on Powerball would create tough comps for us at the beginning of this year, but it's still very early, and we'll be monitoring the jackpots on Mega Millions, Lotto Texas, and Texas Two-Step to hopefully close the gap over the next few months. As Sergio mentioned, scratch sales are up about $7.2 million or about 0.5%. During my fiscal year 24 year-end sales presentation in October, I spoke about the success we saw with our $20 crossword game. To recap, it was the 7th best-selling game last year. In response to this player demand for an extended play game at a higher price point, we launched the $50 Colossal Cashword on November 18th. This is another crossword style game, and I've included it with your notebooks. Sales for the first few weeks have been promising, and over the next few months, we'll analyze the sales data to determine if this game should become a core game that's always kept in market. I will report more on that at our next meeting. And with that, I'll wrap up. Sergio and I are available for any questions.
Okay, good job, Sergio and Will. Commissioners, any questions? Righty, we appreciate your detailed report. Good
Thank
job
you so
to
much.
both.
Thank you.
Okay, Sergio, next item is report on transfers to the state.
Right, again,
Still you.
yeah. I'm here for a little bit. Again, Sergio Rey, Chief Financial Officer. We just highlighted our sales through week 12 for the fiscal year. So now for this agenda item, I'll provide a high-level summary of the accrued revenues and transfers to our beneficiaries through October 31st of 2024. Our accrued revenues transfers to the state were just over $260 million for the first 2 months of the year. The Foundation School Fund has received $256.1 million, and the Texas Veterans Commission received almost $4.7 million. In total, to date, the Texas Lottery has transferred $34 billion to the state for education and $253 million for Texas veterans. For the second part of this item is our discussion on our operating budget, but for my update today, I would like to make note that in our next meeting, we will provide a presentation of the agency's audited financial report. Currently, we are in the final stages of the annual financial report, and our external auditors, Weaver and Tidwell, are completing the final independent review of our financials. This year, our financial report, including Weaver's independent audit of our financials, is due to our oversight agencies on December 15th. 2024. These agencies include the Comptroller's Office, the Legislative Budget Board, State Auditor's Office, as well as the Governor's Office. In addition, the agency will also submit the annual report of non-financial data to the same oversight agencies. This is a report of specific schedules required by Government Code 2101, which is due on December 30th. Commissioners, this concludes my presentation on this item. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any questions, discussion? Okay, Sergio, you have completed 67% of what you're here to do. So last item, agency sunset review.
Third time's a charm. So good. The following is an update of the agency's sunset review. For the last couple of months, we've provided you with updates on the Sunset Advisory Commission staff report, the Commission's decisions, and the additional recommendations and motions from the Commission itself. Since our last meeting, the Sunset staff continued to meet with additional members of the agency's executive leadership, as well as with Chairman Rivera. Additionally, Sunset staff met with members of the agency's courier work group to discuss the potential regulatory structure for courier services. These are the last of the meetings and document requests for the Sunset staff. Now, this coming December 20th, the report and results of the Sunset Commission's request for the evaluation of the effectiveness of agency leadership and the study of the potential regulations on lottery ticket courier companies will be submitted to the Sunset Commission and made public on their website. This is in preparation for the discussions at the January 15, 2025 Sunset Advisory Commission meeting. The results and information will also be provided to the Senate Committee on State Affairs and the House Committee on Licensing and Administrative Procedures. At the January meeting, the Sunset Advisory Commission will consider the report and finalize any additional potential management recommendations and or additional statutory recommendations to be incorporated in the agency's sunset bill. Now, this concludes my presentation here. However, Executive Director Ryan Mendel will provide additional information on the courier work group.
Thank you, Sergio. And again, for the record, my name is Ryan Mendel, Executive Director. did have a couple of items to add. First, as Sergio mentioned, the Courier Working Group that I formed earlier this year has completed its review of the proposals that we had previously provided to the legislature regarding either regulating or banning courier. Provided the updated proposals to the Sunset Commission, the House Licensing Administrative Procedures Committee, and the Senate State Affairs Committee. That work group, led so well by our enforcement director, John Graham, and staffed by a number of people across the agency, worked very hard to understand other states' approach to the courier issue while crafting proposals that we think are a good fit for Texas. We will continue to be good partners and resources to the legislature as they examine this issue. I also want to provide a quick update on our efforts related to the Commission's zero tolerance policy on selling lottery tickets to Texans under 18 years of age. At our September meeting, I shared that I instructed our lottery system vendor, IGT, to implement age verification functionality on our self-service vending machines. The technical approach for that has been finalized. It will be tested this month and then implemented starting December 30th on all of our self-service vending machines at retailers across the state. Also, as you know, in September, the Sunset Commission added an additional directive for the TLC to enter into MOU with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission to establish a process for sharing information between the agencies, promoting compliance of prohibitions on selling to minors, including sharing information on violations by our respective licensees. I wanted to update you that we've met with TABC and we are working to finalize that MOU. That's all I had to add. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ryan, Sergio, good job. Commissioners, any questions, discussion? Okay, Sergio, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All righty. Next is an item from Bob, legal item that Bob wanted to discuss.
Thank you, Commissioners. Bob Beard, General Counsel. And item 10 is I'm following up on your request at the October meeting to look into a 1990s court case referred to as Pick a State. The name of the case is actually Wenner, that's Wenner versus Texas Lottery Commission. In this case, the commission refused to pay a $10 million Lotto Texas prize to an out-of-state player named Scott Wenner. The case was in federal court because a federal statute was at issue. The commission lost the case, and the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals found that the winning ticket was enforceable, and the commission ultimately paid the player over $3 million to settle. There is a 1997 opinion that's published at volume 123 of the Federal Third Reporter at page 321. That legal citation is 123 Fed Third 321. In 1998, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to review this decision. Just a few points about this case. First, Pick a State was not a party to the case. This was not a case against Pick a State, and they did not sue the commission. Pick a State operated an interstate lottery sales business where customers in one state could legally purchase tickets from any other lottery in the United States. In essence, it put all the state lotteries, which are designed to be monopolies within their own borders, in competition with each other. Congress amended the federal law to prohibit this activity, and Pick a State went out of business. But the player with the ticket bought the winning ticket in Pennsylvania when there was an injunction that was keeping the federal law from being enforced. I haven't seen anything that indicates Pick a State had an intrastate business, and that I mean a business purchasing lottery tickets for customers in the same state as the lottery. The commission's lottery director at the time denied the prize claim in a document that cited about a dozen reasons based mostly on state law and commission rules and also 2 federal statutes. And one reason given was that the ticket was purchased over the telephone. The court decided the case based on the federal law, so it did not consider the state law reasons that were cited to deny the claim. One more point, the telephone statute the director cited as one reason for denying the claim was at that time Texas Government Code section 466.255A2. It was in the 1993 Lottery Act. It prohibited a person from purchasing a ticket over the telephone. In 1995, while this case was pending, the legislature amended and moved that statute to a different section at 466.3052, and made it a Class C misdemeanor for a person to intentionally sell a ticket over the telephone. So it went from a prohibition on purchasing a ticket to a criminal offense for selling a ticket over the phone. Then in 1999, which was less than a year after this case was settled, the legislature repealed the criminal offense for sales over the telephone. And today there is no statute specifying that sales or purchases over the telephone are prohibited. However, at that time and up to today, the State Lottery Act directs this commission to adopt rules enforcing, and this is a quote, prohibitions on a person playing a lottery game by telephone. That's today is at 466.015B4. And the commission rules do prohibit retailers from selling tickets over the telephone. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any questions? Bob, we appreciate the clarity as always.
Thank
you. Okay, next item, number 11, NELDA legislative session discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Nelda Trevino. I'm the Director of Governmental Affairs. The 89th Legislature will convene its regular session next month on January the 14th, and pre-filing of legislation began on November 12th, and we have begun the process of tracking legislation of interest to the agency. In addition to legislation that may be filed related to the administration of the lottery or the regulation of charitable bingo, other legislation the agency tracks and monitors covers a variety of subjects. These measures relate to subjects regarding other gaming activities, open meetings of governmental bodies, open records in the Public Information Act, state purchasing and contracting, and matters related to the state budget and state employees. We have provided you with bill tracking reports today, and I want to highlight a few bills that have been filed. These include Senate Bill 79 by Senator Bob Hall and the House Companion Bill, House Bill 389 by Representative Matt Shaheen. These bills relate to a lottery game played or facilitated for play by telephone or through an internet or mobile internet application. The bill amends the State Lottery Act and directs the Commission to adopt rules regarding the enforcement related to the prohibition of this activity. House Bill 839 by Representative Cody Vasat. This bill relates to the statutory limitation on the percentage of lottery sales paid as prizes. The bill amends the State Lottery Act and establishes a limit on the payment of prizes in a fiscal biennium to not exceed the amount equal to 40% of lottery ticket sales. House Bill 1067 by Representative Salman Bojani relating to the compensation paid to lottery retailers. This bill amends the State Lottery Act and increases retailer sales commissions from 5% to 7.5%. House Bill 171 by Senator Jose Menendez relating to the creation of a scratch ticket lottery game to benefit the Child Care Services Program administered by the Texas Workforce Commission. And then the bills that Trace mentioned earlier, House Bill 487 by Representative Carl Tepper and the Senate companion Senate Bill 517 by Senator Mays Middleton relating to 8-liners. This bill amends the Bingo Enabling Act as it relates to other games of chance during a bingo occasion. And lastly, it is anticipated, as Sergio mentioned, that the agency sunset bill incorporating the Sunset Advisory Commission's recommendations will be filed in the near future. And it is also anticipated that the proposed General Appropriations Act, commonly known as the state budget, will also be filed in the near future. We will continue to keep you posted as the process during the legislative session continues. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? Nelda, we appreciate your hard work that you do every day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, internal auditors report, Liz Myers.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Liz Myers. I am Director of Risk Advisory at McConnell Jones, your internal auditors. Unfortunately, Darlene Brown, who was expected to be here today, was unable to attend, so I am going to do the report for her. With regards to the internal activities for this past fiscal period, we are in the process of the charitable bingo licensing processes engagement, and we expect to be completed in early January. And we will begin in January the advertising program audit. Next, I'd like to cover the internal audit charter for the Lottery Commission. The charter has been updated to reflect changes to the Institute of Internal Auditors global standards that take effect in January of 2025. The charter contents define internal audit's purpose, mission, reporting relationships, independence, and requirements to abide by the ethics and professionalism standards. It also defines the working relationship with the lottery's Audit Sub-Advisory Committee and mandates from the Texas Internal Audit Act and associated requirements. The charter outlines the following: the roles and responsibilities to the TLC Commission oversight, to TLC's Audit Sub-Advisory Committee, and the internal audits leader and team. Additionally, the charter outlines communications with the Audit Sub-Advisory Committee members, commissioners, and senior management, a quality assurance program, scope and types of internal audit services that can be performed. I'm asking for a request to approve this internal audit charter, and that is the end of my report. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Liz, thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments specifically from the audit subcommittee, Lee and Jamie?
Sure. Cindy and I reviewed the charter as a part of our subcommittee meeting and recommend it to the Treasury Board. I think obviously you guys have seen it as well. We reviewed it through the meetings and recommend it.
Okay. Cindy, anything else? Yes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
All righty. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Liz, thank you very much for filling in today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Bingo Director's Report. LaDonna, your item.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, I'm LaDonna Castañuela, Director of Charitable Bingo Operations Division. Information regarding outputs for CBOD for October and November can be found in your notebook materials. In addition to our day-to-day activities and workload, the division is continuing its work on the bingo-related management actions in the Sunset Advisory Commission's report and decisions, including Management Action 2.5, requiring staff to develop a plan to prioritize the bingo service portal and BOSS updates, including establishing timelines and tasks to achieve improvements. The plan is due to be submitted to the Commission for approval no later than March 15th, 2025, so it will be presented at your next meeting in February. The Commission's IT Director, Jason Kennedy, and IT staff have been working with me and CBOD staff on the plan requirements. We have and will continue to consult with the Department of Information Resources as required by the management action. Work with the BAC and industry will include an online survey and other outreach specifically seeking user feedback and suggestions for improvements for the next version of the BSP. You may remember that at its meeting in October, the BAC created a bingo service portal input subcommittee to help us gather feedback from BSP users. The plan will be presented at the Commission's Planning Subcommittee in January before it is submitted to the full Commission for approval at the February meeting. That's all I have for you today, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay. Cindy, any thoughts?
Good job, LaDonna. You've got a lot on your plate. You and your staff. They're doing it.
Okay. Commissioners, any other discussion? LaDonna? Okay. LaDonna, thank you, as always. Next item is for enforcement cases. Bob.
Yes, Commissioners, again, I'm Bob Beard, General Counsel. Item 15 contains 7 lottery cases, tabs A through G. These are cases where a lottery licensee violated a statute or rule. In most cases, the respondent failed to appear at the hearing, all the cases this time, and it proceeds by default, or the staff and the respondent reached a settlement in the form of an agreed order. We have both of those types of cases today. Tabs A through D are the non-sufficient fund lottery retailer license revocations handled in a single order. Each case was presented at the State Office of Administrative Hearings for revocation of the retailer license because the licensee failed to have sufficient funds in their bank account to cover electronic fund transfers to the commission's account. In each case, the licensee failed to appear at the hearing, and the judge remanded the case to the commission to handle as a default matter. As E through G are lottery agreed orders. Tabs E and F are both debit card cases where the retailer charged an additional fee for a person to buy lottery tickets with a debit card. And tab G is a case where the owner of a retail location claimed a ticket for one of their employees. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and you may take all these items up in a single vote if you like.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion? None? Okay, is there an order to approve tabs A through G?
I'll move.
Question? Second, all right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
next item, public comment.
I have no request for public comment.
Okay, commissioners, I believe this concludes our business. On behalf of all of our commissioners, we'd like to wish everyone and all of our very dedicated and important employees a Merry Christmas, a very safe holidays, and we look forward to seeing everyone next year. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.